Grandma, it's time to eat. Thanks, Ethan. I bit into the raw eggplant placed in front of me. I hadn't eaten anything since morning, so I didn't care if it was raw or not. As long as I could make it through the day, that was enough. There's one more, I'll go get it. My grandson Ethan said that and trotted off to the kitchen. He took another eggplant from the vegetable drawer and placed it on a plate. Just then, my husband, who was on a work assignment, came home. Wow, Grandpa. Welcome home. It's not even night yet. Surprise. I wanted to see everyone, so I took the first train back. And Ethan, you're so thoughtful. Is that for the altar? Nope, this is Grandma's usual meal. What? What do you mean? My husband followed Ethan into my room. Emily, what are you eating? He froze instantly at the bizarre sight of me stuffing my face with raw eggplant. Then he rushed over to me and hugged me tightly. Mike, what? Is it really you? Of course it is. Emily, you've gotten so thin, what happened? My husband, though confused, gently stroked my now skinny back. Mike, All the emotions I had lost suddenly came flooding back, and tears streamed down my face. I'm a stay-at-home wife, almost turning 60. This is a story from when I was 55. I have a husband, Mike, 2 years older than me, and a son named Jack. Mike and I got married for love. My husband's company was one of the clients of the company I worked for, and he was the sales representative in charge. At the time, my job mainly involved handling errands and serving tea to visitors and male employees. So, my impression of him was that he was someone I recognized by face and name, but we hardly ever talked. That changed about 6 months after I joined the company. That day, as usual, my husband came for a sales visit, but this time, he spoke to me just as I was about to go on my lunch break. If you'd like, would you join me for lunch? The sudden invitation surprised me so much that I was speechless for a while. Oh. I'm sorry. That was a bit sudden, wasn't it? My husband apologized, looking sorry, and I quickly apologized as well. No, I'm sorry. I just didn't expect you to ask. I'd love to join you for lunch. The look of happiness on his face at that moment is something I still vividly remember, even after more than 30 years. At the same time, I was so thrilled to be approached by a man, something that had never happened to me before, that I felt like jumping for joy. After being invited to lunch a few more times, we started dating on Christmas Eve. A year later, on Christmas, he proposed, and we became husband and wife. After getting married, I left my job and soon after, we had our son, Jack. Then my husband said, I want to buy a house so you can raise Jack comfortably, and he asked me about purchasing a new home. I was thrilled about owning our dream home, but I was also worried that the mortgage might be too much for us since I wasn't working. When I shared my concern, he reassured me, saying, I'll probably have to travel more and do some solo assignments to pay off the mortgage, but knowing you and Jack are waiting for me at home will keep me going. 6 months later, we bought the house we live in now with a 35-year mortgage. Since then, my husband has been traveling for work half of the year. Every few years, he would be assigned to work away from home for up to 2 years at a time. We had very little time together as a couple, but because my husband never missed a regular phone call, I rarely felt anxious or lonely. The same was true for our son, Jack. No matter how tired he was, my husband always made sure to talk to Jack on the phone. Sometimes he would fall asleep on the other end, but Jack never got upset about it. Instead, Jack would worry and say, I hope Dad doesn't catch a cold. How can I wake him up? For Jack, just knowing that his father cared enough to call him made him happy. Blessed with a family-oriented husband and a kind-hearted son, my marriage life was smooth sailing. The change in our peaceful life came when Jack said he had someone to introduce and brought his fiancée, Lily, to meet us. Lily was a year younger than Jack and worked at the same company as him. My first impression of her was that she was calm and dependable. But when she smiled, she had a gentle and serene demeanor, and I thought that was what attracted Jack to her. The two of them got married soon after and moved into an apartment near our home. A year later, our grandson Ethan was born. When Lily had Ethan, she left her job and became a stay-at-home mom like me. Jack, now the sole breadwinner, took on more business trips and solo assignments like his father, working hard for his family's future. Lily, too, responded by diligently managing the housework and childcare on her own. However, Ethan had terrible night terrors as a baby, and Lily recalls that taking care of him while Jack was away on assignments was a constant battle against sleep deprivation and exhaustion. Jack was a good sleeper as a baby, so to be honest, I didn't quite understand what Lily was going through. So all I could say at the time was, "That sounds tough." I also assumed things would get easier once Ethan started kindergarten, so I didn't take it too seriously. But even after starting kindergarten, Ethan was apparently so weak that he caught colds and missed school half the month. The constant cycle of housework, childcare, and nursing took a toll on Lily's spirit. Jack started to feel increasingly uneasy about leaving behind Lily and a frail Ethan to go on another work assignment. When Ethan turned 5, Jack called to tell me he'd been assigned another 2-year solo stint. Ethan is still so weak, and Lily always looks so tired. I'm really worried. Since Dad is away a lot for work too, I'm thinking we should all live together. What do you think? I'm fine with it, but what about Lily? She might not be too thrilled about living with her mother-in-law. Lily said she's on board as long as you two are okay with it. Can you ask Dad about it later? That night, I told my husband about the idea of living together. That's a relief. To be honest, I was a bit worried about leaving you alone. Remember when you were hospitalized before? About 6 months ago, I had been hospitalized due to food poisoning. I became dehydrated and had to be hospitalized for a day and 4, and ever since then, my husband has been quite concerned. Lily is so reliable, I feel like we can count on her if anything happens. And so, without any hesitation, we smoothly decided to live together. A month after we finalized the plan, my son's family terminated their apartment lease and moved into our home. Thank you for welcoming us. The pleasure is mine. This is your home now too, Lily, so don't hesitate to speak up if you need anything. Yes, thank you. Even though there were no hard feelings, the atmosphere between Lily and me was still a bit awkward since we had only spent time together during holidays. However, with the help of my husband and Jack, we managed to get a sense of how to be comfortable with each other. After spending a few days together as a family, my husband and Jack left for their usual work assignments, each lasting up to 2 years. From then on, it would truly be just the 3 of us. So, Lily and I decided to divide the household responsibilities. I would take care of cleaning, laundry, and dishwashing. Lily would handle meal preparation, shopping, and most of the care for our grandson. Of course, we agreed that any other minor chores or tasks that one of us couldn't manage would be taken care of by whoever was free. But Lily was such an amazing daughter-in-law that she would often say, "I had some free time, so I went ahead and finished it, even with the tasks I was supposed to do." Even when Ethan was sick with a fever, Lily never neglected the chores she was responsible for. Since Jack became an adult and moved out, I have lived almost alone. I thought to myself, living with 3 people means the chores will triple. I need to step up. But when we started living together, Lily took care of most of the chores, so I was able to continue my relaxed lifestyle. Lily, you're truly a wonderful daughter-in-law. Thank you for choosing Jack. Oh, it's nothing. We're living together, so it's only natural to do this much. At that moment, I was deeply grateful to Lily and genuinely felt that I was a very fortunate person. But this happiness didn't last long. About 3.5 months after we began living together, Lily's behavior started to change dramatically. During meals and conversations, she was constantly checking her phone and seemed restless. She also stopped taking Ethan shopping on weekends, instead going out alone and not returning for hours. On top of that, if chores were delayed or plans changed suddenly, she would sharply say, "I don't have time for this. Do it later." I was confused by Lily's drastic change and tried to figure out what might have caused it. But no matter how much I thought about it, the only conclusion I could come to was that I might have given her too many chores, causing her stress to build up. So I decided to gather my courage and share my honest feelings with Lily. Lily, I'm sorry if I've been giving you too much to do around the house. From now on, I'll take on more of the chores, so why don't you take some time to rest? I thought I was showing as much consideration as possible, but the answer I got from Lily was, "What?
Uh,
I'm fine, really. Don't worry about it." It was a rather dry response. I wondered if I had said something wrong, but I continued to ask Lily, "Are you okay? Let me know if you need anything." However, our conversations dwindled, and eventually, she started completely ignoring me. Then, Lily took over all the chores, saying, "Please don't touch anything, because, as she put it, when you handle things, everything ends up smelling like an old person, and it's bothersome." On top of that, she completely ignored my meals and laundry. I had no choice but to try and make my own meals, but Lily furiously snapped, "I told you not to touch anything," and I was no longer allowed to use the kitchen. In the end, I resorted to buying food from the grocery store or convenience store and eating alone. As for my laundry, I had to secretly wash it while Lily was out and dry it in my room, or take it to the laundromat. Additionally, I couldn't talk to or interact with Ethan without Lily's permission. My heart was slowly being worn down by this situation, which no longer felt like a family relationship. I knew the only way to change the situation was to have a conversation. But whenever I tried to speak to her, Lily would either ignore me or explode in anger. Still, I felt I had to do something, so I spoke to Lily in a firmer tone than usual, despite her continued silence. "Lily, I can't understand anything if you stay silent. Please, talk to me." But this action led to an unexpected event. "Shut up. When I tell you to be quiet, you be quiet." With those words, Lily suddenly slapped me hard across the face. I had braced myself for insults and shouting, but I never expected to be slapped, so I was too shocked to move. Lily was also shocked at what she'd done, but in the end, I stayed silent. This incident ended up worsening Lily's attitude towards me even more. But why had Lily changed so drastically in the first place? The reason was Lily's affair. Lily's boyfriend was a classmate from her college days, who also happened to be married. They had reconnected at a college reunion about a year before we started living together. Since they both had families, they bonded over that and exchanged numbers under the guise of being confidants. Lily, exhausted from caring for Ethan and raising him alone, quickly became engrossed in talking with her boyfriend. Before long, their relationship turned romantic. When Lily was living in the apartment, she neglected her chores to go on dates with her boyfriend. As a result, the apartment was always in disarray, but when she told Jack, "Ethan has another fever, and I couldn't get to the chores," he didn't question it. With Jack constantly away on business trips and solo assignments, he couldn't possibly keep track of what was happening at home. So, he simply believed whatever Lily told him. This affair-filled life quickly changed right after we started living together. At first, Lily thought she could continue her affair as long as she played the role of a good wife while living with us. So, she actively took on my share of the chores and started acting like the perfect daughter-in-law. However, suddenly having to do all the chores she had neglected for her affair was too much for Lily to handle on her own. Lily became increasingly overwhelmed by the chores, making it harder for her to find time to meet with her boyfriend. As a result, her boyfriend's attitude grew colder, and he started turning down her invitations for dates. Lily began taking out her frustration and anxiety on me. Unaware of what was really going on, I kept reflecting on my own actions and trying to find ways to get closer to Lily. I continued offering well-meaning but misguided words of concern. To Lily, who was struggling with her affair, my actions were just meddlesome. Lily was probably wishing I left her alone. Lily, who wanted to be left alone, and I, who wanted to help. This mismatched dynamic only made Lily more irritated. In the end, I pushed the situation to the point where she slapped me. After that incident, Lily began harassing me under the guise of discipline. It's your fault that it's so hard to get rid of lunchbox waste. So as discipline, you're not allowed to shop or go out. With that, Lily hid my wallet and shoes somewhere. Then, instead of proper meals, Lily started giving me leftover raw vegetables from the fridge or scraps of food that my grandson didn't finish. I was even forbidden from taking baths. As a result, my body odor became strong. Then, Lily would dramatically put on a mask and rubber gloves, burst into my room, and complain about the smell before shoving me into the bathroom and telling me to wash in a tub filled with cold water. The gas was turned off, so I couldn't even use hot water. After giving me a ragged towel that looked like an old dishcloth, she sent me back to my room with my hair still wet. Fortunately, it wasn't winter, so I didn't catch a cold, but my body was completely chilled. This cold bath ritual continued almost daily, whenever Lily felt like it. I can't take this anymore. I'm going to collapse. One day, fearing for my life, I tried to contact my husband or Jack when Lily wasn't looking. Unfortunately, she caught me and confiscated my phone. As additional discipline, I was banned from leaving my room. Lily changed the password on my phone so I couldn't call for help. She even impersonated me when responding to messages from my husband and Jack. However, she couldn't impersonate me during phone calls. During those calls, Lily would eavesdrop to make sure I didn't say anything suspicious. So, how's it going? Are you getting along with Lily? Yes, of course. Lily is really a wonderful daughter. So, you don't need to worry. I desperately held back the help me that was on the tip of my tongue and continued deceiving my husband and Jack. As this life dragged on, I lost the feeling that I was deceiving them and even the desire to be rescued. I was only focused on surviving each day. Eventually, I convinced myself that this was all my fault, that Lily's discipline was something I deserved. 3 months of this brainwashing life passed, and the holidays arrived. Even when Lily told me that Mike and Jack would be coming home, I felt nothing. I see. They're coming back. So, don't do or say anything unnecessary. Just show your face, then go back to your room. Yes, I understand. Ugh. Holidays are such a hassle. Anyway, I'm going shopping. Lily went out to buy groceries for dinner since Mike and Jack were coming home in the evening. As always, I stayed in my room, obeying her instructions. I'm starving. I glanced at the clock and saw it was almost noon. Just like every other day, I hadn't been given breakfast, so I waited patiently for Ethan to bring me something to eat. Grandma, it's time to eat. Thank you, Ethan. I said that and bit into the raw eggplant placed in front of me. With each bite, a squeaky sound echoed in my mouth, and all I could taste was bitterness and harshness. Still, it was better than having nothing. There's one more, I'll go get it. Ethan said that and trotted off to the kitchen. He took another eggplant from the vegetable drawer and placed it on a plate again. Just then, my husband came home. Wow, Grandpa. Welcome back. It's not even night yet. Surprise. I wanted to see everyone, so I took the first train back. Ethan, you're so thoughtful. Is this for the altar? Huh? No, this is Grandma's usual meal. What? What are you talking about? My husband followed Ethan to my room and cautiously opened the door. Emily, what are you eating? He instantly froze at the bizarre sight of me stuffing my face with raw eggplant. Then he rushed over to me and hugged me tightly. Mike, what? Is it really you? Of course it is, Emily, you've gotten so thin, what happened? My husband, though confused, gently stroked my now skinny back. Mike, I. All the emotions I had lost suddenly came flooding back, and tears streamed down my face like a flood. Sobbing uncontrollably, I told my husband about Lily's so-called discipline. My husband was speechless at the sheer inhumanity of it all. After hearing my story, he was furious with Lily, saying, "There's no way that's acceptable," and vowed to make sure she faced consequences. Then, turning to Ethan, who was nearby. Listen, Ethan, Grandpa's going to surprise Mommy, so you can't tell her that I'm home. Can you do that? He made Ethan promise to keep it a secret. A surprise? Okay, I won't tell Mommy. With that, Ethan went back to the living room to continue watching TV. My husband shoved all his luggage into the closet, held his phone, and hid inside the closet, waiting for Lily to come home. A few minutes later, Lily returned home, stomping heavily. She roughly dropped the grocery bags in the kitchen, ignored Ethan, and headed straight for my room. Ugh. Why isn't he replying? It's so frustrating. With that, she grabbed a cushion from the floor and started throwing it at me repeatedly. This is all your fault. Why did you agree to live together? Anyone else would have refused. You're so selfish. Take responsibility. As usual, I just sat there and endured it. I knew that if I stayed silent, she would eventually tire herself out and leave the room. But that day, Lily was different. And now I have to take care of your husband and son for a whole week. I'm so sick of it. Hey, they're your family, right? Do something and send them away, you useless old hag. With those words, Lily grabbed a hanger that was nearby. She raised it and aimed it at my head, ready to strike. I instinctively cowered in fear. Then, the next moment. Stop it. My husband burst out of the closet, shouting. Huh? Mike? What? Why are you? My husband rushed over to me, holding me close while glaring at Lily. And in a deep, menacing voice I had never heard before. Lily, what is the meaning of this? He confronted Lily. Well, it's just that. I, got a little frustrated. Lily quickly hid the hanger behind her back. So, when you're frustrated, you think it's okay to throw things? Lily's eyes darted nervously at my husband's direct question. Well, I mean, my hand slipped, or, it just happened in the heat of the moment? It was an accident, yes, an accident. I didn't mean to aim at her, so. My husband sighed in exasperation at her pitiful excuse. Then, he called the police right there. When the police arrived, my husband handed over the hidden camera footage of the discipline as evidence. As a result, Lily was arrested on the spot on suspicion of domestic violence. After the arrest, Lily quietly got into the police car. But for a moment, she turned back, and her eyes were filled with bloodshot hatred toward me. Seeing that, I felt a deep chill run through me. Her face looked like a demon. How did things turn out this way when she used to be such a good daughter-in-law? At that time, I still didn't know the truth about the affair, so my mind was filled with questions and regret. Once the police car was out of sight, my husband let out a big sigh and made a phone call. Hello? Jack, where are you now? The person on the other end was our son, Jack. Now. I'm just about to change trains. What's going on? Lily was just arrested for domestic violence. Take a taxi or whatever you need to and get back here as soon as possible. What? Domestic violence? Arrested. What? I don't understand. Jack's voice coming through the phone was clearly confused. Anyone would be if they were told their wife had been arrested. My husband calmly continued to talk. I'll explain everything when you get back. Just hurry home. With that, he abruptly ended the call. A few minutes later, Jack rushed home, looking frantic. Lily. Hey, Lily. Mom, where's Lily? Clearly in a bit of a panic, Jack searched the house, calling out for Lily. Mike opened his mouth. Lily isn't here. Jack, we're having a family meeting, so just sit down. He directed Jack to a chair in the living room. And so, a family meeting began with just the three of us. Me, my husband, and Jack. My husband started by explaining the circumstances that led to Lily's arrest. The story was so shocking that Jack looked like he couldn't believe it. But when he saw how thin I had become, the state of the house, and the evidence in the video, Jack had no choice but to accept the truth. Is this real? I can't believe it. Lily, did this to you, Mom? Jack was frozen in shock, staring at the screen of his phone, and my husband quietly handed him a cup of tea. I'm not sure how many minutes passed in silence. Jack looked at me intently, then drank the now cold tea in one gulp. Then, he bowed deeply to me. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how bad it was until now. He apologized. Jack, it's not your fault. So please, look up. No, it is my fault. If I had been more responsible about the living situation and with Lily. Jack said weakly, then fell silent, trying to hold back tears. Jack, there's no point in getting down about this. You have Ethan to think about. Let's focus on what we should do next. Ethan, right, I have Ethan. I need to pull it together for his sake. After that, Jack decided to divorce Lily. He also decided to press charges against Lily for domestic violence against me. However, Jack and my husband thought the evidence we had might not be enough, so they decided to check Lily's phone. There, they found messages exchanged with an unknown man. Around the same time, during the police investigation, Lily reportedly confessed, things started going wrong with the guy I was seeing before moving in. I took out my frustration on them and couldn't stop. Based on this statement, when they searched Lily's phone and room, they found photos of her boyfriend and a diary detailing her feelings at the time. Using this evidence, Jack sued Lily for the affair. He also demanded the highest possible amount for child support and shared assets after the divorce. Jack also filed a claim for damages against Lily's boyfriend. The affair partner, having received the notice, frantically called Lily's phone. Jack answered the call and calmly said, "Don't think you can destroy someone else's family and get away with it." With a firm resolve. The man, panicking, said, "I have a family too, I want to settle this peacefully." Jack reportedly hung up without a word. Even though the calls kept coming, he ignored them all. He made it clear that he would not engage in any discussions without a lawyer present. Then one day, the boyfriend sent a message through a lawyer, saying, "My wife is also suing me, so please reduce the amount of alimony." But Jack proudly said, "I told him that's not my problem and that it's no reason to reduce the amount." Meanwhile, my husband, Jack, and I filed a group lawsuit against Lily for the domestic violence. On top of that, Lily was also sued by her boyfriend's wife, leaving her with 3 lawsuits to deal with. Additionally, she was convicted without a suspended sentence, meaning she'd be serving time under police supervision for years. There was no sympathy left for Lily, who betrayed Jack and Ethan and repeatedly committed such cruel acts. The one thing I wished was that while in prison, she would reflect on herself and regret her foolish actions. To support Jack, who became a single father after the divorce, our living arrangement continued. However, since my health had deteriorated, my husband took early retirement to be there and support me. Thanks to that, I fully recovered both physically and mentally. Nowadays, going to spas with my grandson is my greatest joy. Daddy, let's go to the spa together next time.
Yeah.
Now that Grandma is healthy again and I've quit the business trips, I'll have to take you out more often. Jack said that as he hugged Ethan tightly. The sight reminded me so much of my husband when he was younger, and it warmed my heart. I hope Jack finds someone wonderful again someday. I secretly continue to wish for that in my heart.